everybody. My name's Craig.
I'm Brian.
I'm Burke.
And I'm Michelle.
And this is Get Dunked On, the podcast.
Jingle bell, jingle rock. Jingle bells, can jingle swing. Whoa. You guys clearly were never part of a caroler group.
Actually, no, I never was, but
Neither was I. I was just
Actually, I was.
For real?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Couple times. I was actually part of I was in a quartet for a while too.
Hot damn. Well,
Well, to anybody that does celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy Christmas. To everybody else that doesn't celebrate, Happy Monday!
Happy Monday.
That a lot of people have off work. Some of you still may be in, but whatever it is, just celebrate that, hey, I'm alive today.
There it is.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, and okay, so speaking of the celebration of the holiday and that sort of thing, kind of a odd situation happened to me the other day. So I've been seeing this girl, and she invited me over to her sister's place for a mini family Christmas thing. It wasn't like a major oh man, this is a big formal dinner or anything like that. This is just like her family was getting together. Do you want to come over? Sure. And that's what it was sold to me as. I show up, and it's exactly that. It's really casual. It's really fun. It's really nice. Everything's going great. No real problems there. And then something happened. They all started.
Brian showed up in a Halloween costume?
Well, no. No. I wish. No, but they all started exchanging gifts, which I kind of expected that they would do that. But I was told, beforehand, I'm like, do I need to bring something? And she said, no. This is, just, if they do gifts, it's going to be like one or two things amongst one another sort of deal, right? She goes, and I'm not even getting anything because I already did stuff. I'm like, all right, cool. Next thing I know, I have not one, but two different wrapped presents sitting in my lap. And I'm like,
no way.
And I'm sitting there like, what the hell is going on? And give her a look like, you told me there was nothing going on. And she's like, So next thing you know, I'm like, oh, thank you so much. And I open up, and it was very nice. It was a t-shirt and a toolbox. But the point is that I'm the asshole now, right? Because I'm the one sitting there who comes to their family event, eats their food, drinks their beers, whatever, and then literally contributes nothing. And I told her afterward, I'm like, I look like a dick. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts around this. I look like total asshole in this situation. And she goes, well, they didn't tell me it was happening. I had no idea that they were doing this sort of thing. And I'm like, wow. I believe you, but oh my God, I was mortified. So that's
rough.
Yeah, that was one of my Christmas experiences this year.
I've never had that experience where something like that popped up. And it's one of those things I dread every time dating someone new, or I've been to a couple buddies, like family Christmases before, or family holidays in general, and I'm always showing up. I'm like, there's nothing I need to bring. They're like, no, just bring yourself. And luckily, it was never a thing where I ever felt like I was on the spot for that. So that's. Ooh.
And I asked directly. I said specifically, I go, is there anything I should bring? Is there anything I should do? And no, just bring yourself. I'm like, oh, okay, if you say so. Oh God, Burke, have you ever been caught in this situation before, or Michelle? Have you ever experienced something similar to this?
Sort of. So not quite where I've shown up and I've been the jerk, but we did have, so in my family, because my family is absolutely gigantic, the way that we do Christmas Eve with the extended family is the adults at Thanksgiving, we do a drawing, a Secret Santa drawing, and then we get the gifts for just that person. And for the kids, there's a money limit, and each aunt and uncle buys for anybody that's under the age of 18. So with as many aunts and uncles as I have, most of the kids have between, depending on who shows up, 8 to 12 gifts. Okay?
Sure.
So one time my cousin was dating this guy who had a son, and we asked her 75 times, was she bringing that son, because we knew that she was bringing the boyfriend to Christmas Eve. Mm-hmm. And he had opted to not be in the drawing, so he knew he wasn't going to get a gift, and nor did he have to give a gift.
Right.
And they were like, no, we're not bringing the kid. Then 4 p.m. on Christmas Eve, they show up with the kid. And we're all like, this poor kid is going to watch 26 cousins opening all these gifts. My uncle was horrified. He went around, and it was snowing really bad this year. He went around to every store he could find looking for anything that was open and just bought like 10 random appropriate gifts for like a 10-year-old boy.
Dude, that's harsh.
And he was just trying to like scream. It was just like the most, and we were like, why didn't you just tell us? Like, we wouldn't have had to do this. We would have been ready, so that was that situation.
Wow. Yeah, luckily the only time I've been into a Christmas party with, I mean, at the time it was still my wife, so it was plenty far enough ahead of time. But anytime I've been there where you're sitting there going, and you're basically either receiving presents from people that don't know you well, or you don't know them well, and you're buying them gifts, and there's no intermediary between you. It was a Secret Santa, and what I ended up doing is I went out and got, I spent $30 on picture frames. And I made a whole bunch of 8x10 headshots of myself, and I signed them.
Yes.
And it was one of those like, oh no, not Secret Santa, but like the whatever game where you get to like
White Elephant,
trade steal, whatever type of shit.
Yeah.
And so I did that, and so I can't even remember who ended up getting it. But it was one of the lowest like steal and trade valued items.
Oh, I'm sure.
The whole thing. I think Sarah's mom ended up was like, I want that, and took him in there. And I don't know if that was just because she knew that no one else was gonna fucking go for it, because everybody else like actually got like good gifts.
Sure.
Like it was a game and this and this, and I was like, I was told White Elephant, like you get shit that's kind of stupid, and to a point, and it was like they actually put thought into this, and here's a gift card. I'm like, that's not White Elephant, that's good.
No.
I told you my White Elephant story, right? The one about the potpourri.
No.
This is many years ago. I went to a Christmas party, and I had a cold, and there was one of the White Elephant gifts was potpourri, and I opened it up, and by taking a huge, like sticking my nose basically in the potpourri, it cleared my sinuses. I'm like, son of a bitch, I'm hanging on to this thing, and like somebody stole it from me. I stole it right back. I'm like, no. Nice. I'm like, don't you dare touch my potpourri. I told him it was for my mom.
It's for my mom. Yeah,
that's what I told him.
Yeah, totally gonna go take this and give it to my mom.
Absolutely
Totally not for me. Totally not for my own sinuses.
So I'm still imagining, you're the girl you're dating's family. And I don't like that guy. He's an asshole.
Oh, I know, right?
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
Absolutely. Like there's no way I come out of this like they're like, what a good dude. Like, like they're just like
you're fucked.
Oh, I'm like completely and utterly. Even though I made it like. I went over this a million times, but
awful.
Maybe every adult should just carry like an emergency $30 gift card in their wallet
or a
that they can just pull
out
in situations like this. Like, yeah, I totally got this for you.
Just a $30 Visa gift card.
Oh my God, that's genius! Actually,
like whoever can use this. But you know who's going to come off looking like an asshole no matter what they do from here on out?
Who's that?
Is going to be EA.
Yes. No, they never look like assholes.
That was going to be the case probably no matter what. But their most recent, and I'm just going to say debacle with Star Wars Battlefront 2 is just an affront to everything else that they've ever done beforehand. They just completely blew it out of the water. Like everybody else beforehand was like, yeah, I hit a really good line drive. EA's like, watch out, boys, and pushed themselves up to the plate and smoked a home run in the asshole Olympics. Does it, for people that might not know where I'm going with this, we're kind of talking about microtransactions today, and it came from a conversation me and Burke have had, Brian and I have had, based on the microtransactions and kind of how it's going in today in games. And it's all stemmed from how EA started running Star Wars Battlefront 2. Now, like a lot of games nowadays, there are what they call like the loot boxes or the like in-game currency you can buy to level up your character, like the MLB games. When you're playing Road to the Show, which is just a single player campaign, you go through and you have one character that you play as, one baseball player, and you can buy points. Like with real money, you can put your credit card in and buy points to level up your character. I want to hit better. I want to field better. It's a single player game. They let you do that. Whatever. You can go through and spend money. Games like Overwatch, where there's a loot crate system or a loot box system. Excuse me, loot crate's an actual company. Loot box is where when you level up or you do certain things, you get a loot box where you open it up and you get 4 random items out of it. All of them cosmetic, a spray, a skin, an emote, etc. Things like that. Or there's things like Halo that has them too, where it's like you might get a bunch of cosmetics, and then in their massive multiplayer mode, you get different guns. But I can say in that mode, it's so massive, and the guns don't mean that much of they're not that big of a difference in my head. Like, they're not like, oh my God, this is all powerful, you'll never be stopped. It's like, yeah, we gave you about a half-second boost on something. You feel like you just wasted a slot that you brought into this game. At least that was my opinion at the time when I used to play a lot more Halo multiplayer. But it was never in the competitive. Like, when you went into that, you knew you were going to get those guns. There was an entire other section of multiplayer for Halo that was...
Was it a card based or something?
It was card based. Like
it was cards.
You get cards, but it's the same thing.
Cards. And it was cards, and obviously there were modes where you could do PvP, but it wasn't ever ranked. Ranked always had like set guns, or
it was
completely random. And then it was basically the I guess PvE, player versus the actual AI.
It was like
where those guns came in.
It was like a PvPvE. Like, where it's just utter chaos and it's not ranked, and it just kind of throws you in there with people.
Right.
And so the big thing that has come out with the EA Star Wars Battlefront 2 is that they had it where you actually had substantial power-ups that were in those loot crates or in those loot boxes. And
so I'm going to interrupt you there and go into the beta. So I played the beta of Battlefront, and this is where I got super upset with the game and kind of made my decision I wasn't going to buy it, even before the internet really blew up on this.
And just to clarify, this was not in Battlefront 1? I haven't played...
No.
Okay.
No. It was a normal PvP system in Battlefront.
Right. You could upgrade your guy by playing the game. You could get...
Yeah, just time.
Yeah, you just put time in. And so...
there was no random chance. Yeah, and so basically, so they changed the system, and don't get me wrong, the game was beautiful, like absolutely beautiful. But I joined in late to the beta, like at the 5th or 6th day after they extended it. I could not get a kill. Like, I mean, it took me like 4 games to actually get a kill. And it wasn't because I wasn't hitting people. It was literally because they had played longer and they had leveled up and gotten loot crates and were able to like just kill me one shot. And it was the concept through every game mode. The only game mode that seemed somewhat fair was the ship combat. But even that, like it was all crates. Like, as soon as you leveled up, you got more crates, you open those, and you get random stuff that makes you more powerful.
And then when you get more powerful, you're able to gain experience faster because you're getting more kills, you're not dying, you're unlocking more things. So it kind of is a windfall that way, which is fine if you're going through and just you play and that's kind of how it is. But with the loot crate system, it would start doing that. So the thing that comes up is that was broke during the beta when you could not buy the crates.
Yes.
Now, once the game released fully, you could buy the crates. That means you could pay, in essence, a section of money to start unlocking all these things before everyone else. And where the big problem came in is how they set up the system to where you can unlock certain heroes or villains, whatever you want to call them. You can unlock certain playable characters after a certain amount of time. Time. So the average amount, what they said for like unlocking Luke Skywalker, which is a big character, obviously in the Star Wars universe, that a lot of people are going to want, it would take.
Never heard of that guy. Is he good?
It would take roughly 40 hours to unlock this character, and you could not open a single crate to go to anybody else during that time. That was just use, or not open the crates, but you had to like dedicate 40 hours straight to Luke Skywalker just to unlock him, not to even level him up. If you didn't pay.
Yeah.
And then if you wanted also to get Darth Vader, you had to play another 40 hours and not spend any of your money, like your in-game currency, on anything else. So
40 hours is a long,
and that's 80 hours
time
for just 2 things. That means you're not upgrading any other thing in your entire game. Nothing.
Right.
And that's just the average. And or what you could do is spend $200 and you could basically unlock both of them, as well as getting other random level ups. So the biggest thing that I saw that was a massive affront was the situation where a guy that went through, he spent $300 right at launch. He spent $100 on like the special edition that got him whatever X amount of loot boxes. And then he spent an additional $200 on loot boxes. And he said, it will take pro gamers 6 months to catch up to me if they don't spend money. They can't kill me right now, because it's something like you get like 40% extra shields and like huge upgrades if you fully max out your skill tree on a character.
What a load of horse shit. Holy crap.
I didn't I had heard it was bad, but I didn't realize how bad it was.
And
it's like taking the mobile concept of pay to play and putting it in a $60 fucking game.
Yeah.
Like a pay to win.
It was a pay to win mainstream game.
So
like I mean, you've heard those those, I call them clicker games or tapper games, on your phone, what I'm talking about?
But even those you pay like $2 and you get like an hour of progress.
Right. But what I'm saying is like those kind of games you expect it from a AAA title that you're paying a full $70 to get. That is not just crazy. That is like, that's world ending. Like, no wonder the backlash was so heavy on it.
Yeah, so that's just what started our conversation when Brian and I have sort of talked about it beforehand.
Briefly,
Brooke and I talked a little bit more on it, and so we just kind of wanted to get into it a little bit today, because that's where they went with it, and it's one of those things now where I'll start things off here by saying this: I love the idea of microtransactions. Don't start yelling yet. I love the idea of microtransactions when it is for stuff that has absolutely nothing to do with PvP in any capacity. I love that. Even if it's something that's affecting, like, oh, we're going to do races, like if there's like a leaderboard of like, hey, we're playing Sonic. Just go with me here. There's a leaderboard for who can beat the level the fastest, but one of my loot boxes makes every box a speed shoe box. Like you unlock that ability, something like that, and you could pay for it. I'm like, oh, that's still a single player thing. And you might want to be fast, but you could eventually kind of get that and do that on your own, because it's still sort of a single player thing. But I like the idea of them because of how much they pay for future games. Grand Theft Auto 5 sold $3.8 billion worth of like selling just Grand Theft Auto 5 in general. $3.8 billion.
Wow, I didn't realize
they have made, I think it is more than $6 billion on their shark cards, which are basically the GTA in-game currency. So people can buy guns and apartments and other stuff. They are making more, almost every company out there is making more money off microtransactions than the actual game itself. Go ahead.
Sorry, I got to ask a question about that. Grand Theft Auto in like I haven't played seriously since Vice City. Is there not like just a cheat code for unlimited money and stuff?
So that mode right there that he's talking about. So there's a single player campaign which you can't really do microtransactions for. It's just go through, play.
You do Vice City it's just the game you played. So there might be cheat codes, there might not. Who knows?
And then in that same exact city, they created Grand Theft Auto Online, which is this whole universe in basically, 32 people plus per map, which is a huge map. And it's
like an MMO with servers.
Yeah. Yes. It is a complete MMO with servers, and you can live your own life. That's obviously on the dark side of the law or force. That's what it's for. Like, so, I never bought a single shark card. I know I have some friends who did, and like because of that, like they bought stuff. I was able to use their stuff and get money myself and then buy my own stuff. But so it gave you an advantage, but it wasn't this incredible like game breaking advantage, because like I could still go out, do some stuff where I don't even have to do player versus player. I can go in and play, just go rob a store myself in this obviously server and get money. It's not the fastest way, but I can still do it and not have to worry about getting sniped by the top gun. But like the real benefit for that is it's progressed. Like in the beginning, it was just, you can get money and get your weapons faster. Now it's not game breaking, but it's still, you have people that have the really high end tanks that can just kill you at all the time. So it kind of got a little bit unbalanced, but not. I mean, if I played another, I don't know, 10 hours, I could get a tank.
But at the same time, you also could join into a server and say like, no, I'm not doing PvP. I might still be on the same map as you guys. So you couldn't be hunted by the guy that is spending $100,000 on shark cards, that's buying all these tanks. You could be like, no, I'm going to turn on the option where I can't kill you, but you can't kill me. Like, I'm here just to be here with my buddies and to run in and
fair.
Steal from convenience stores.
Everything you just told me about that sounds fine to
and
me.
You can create private servers and play with all your buddies that way, so you don't even have to worry about idiots, Oh,
I didn't know they turned on, because that wasn't there when I played initially.
Yeah, you have private servers. So, I remember like me and, I don't know, we'd have like 6 or 7 people on a server just doing our own stuff. Obviously, it's not open to the everything. There's still some limitations, but you can still play and earn money and then use that money to, compete if you really wanted to.
Interesting. Huh. So, Craig, basically, to grossly over summarize, you're saying that basically as long as they don't impact a PvP environment, you're cool with all microtransactions.
I can dive in deeper if you guys want me to, in terms of like, I can tell you exactly where I would draw the line and where I wouldn't draw the line.
I definitely would want to go a little bit more into detail on that for sure, if you don't mind.
So my main thing is, like I said, I love the idea of microtransactions just because it does pay for them making the next game. They can go through and make Grand Theft Auto 6 basically off shark card sales alone, which I just went through and looked up, and they're earning $800 million a year just on shark cards, which is ridiculous. Shit. But this is when I think microtransactions and loot boxes and whatnot. Here's the limiting factor for me, or here's the guidelines. If you have a single player only game, I'm talking Legend of Zelda single player, no one else is on type thing, like a standard Zelda game like that. If they were to, don't take this purely for Zelda, but like something like that, if you were to put in loot boxes with power ups and all these other things, I don't care. Go ham. Sell a guy for $10 or like whatever, that basically you have a guy that has max hearts and max stamina right off the bat. I don't care. That's that person's game. Like, let's just, for example, I know Burke, you never would, but like Burke's like, I really just want to get the highest classic character right off the bat, pay an extra $10 and just play through the game, see the storyline and be done with it. Sure. That does not affect my game in any capacity. When there's any form of multiplayer or PvP, the only things that should come out of those loot boxes that have any appearance in a PvP match is cosmetics. That's it. Cosmetic things are the only thing that should make it into PvP.
Amen.
Like, even though Halo did it right to where it's like, well, it's kind of useless. At that point, you should have just focused your energy on not making something useless. But at that point, like, just nothing else. No PvP. There should be no power-ups. There should be no whatever. There's more on this I can go into in a second about what Activision just now signed into agreement, or they put a patent on, but it should be like that. And I don't care about cosmetics. You should be able to display those anywhere. That's cool. All you're doing is giving away like free advertising for the company. And then if somebody else wants to pay money for it, sure, that's their choice. They can go through and pay whatever they want. But that's kind of roughly where I'm at, where whatever power-ups are in there, that should affect single player only. That should be only effective in single player. And the only things that should be effective in multiplayer are cosmetics, and that's it.
See, I like the idea of a lot of these microtransactions being kind of, as Michelle put it, like they're more or less like time savers, and also they're more, as you said, as long as they don't affect PvP. Now, in Overwatch, my game of choice, it's all cosmetic based, obviously, so I don't really have to worry about too much. It's pretty straightforward. They just like, oh, you want a cool new skin? Here you go. But what the nice thing is that they give you an opportunity to get it without paying money, and that's the big thing that I think is a big difference. It's like, if everyone's running around and like, I'm just gonna pretend I really care about the fact that Burke, you have the Mercy skin that looks like a witch, right? And if you got it because you paid $3 and I had no chance to get that except for to pay $3, like, technically, is it the end of the world? No. Do I have a distaste for that? Yes, because I feel like you should give me either a choice of like either invest time or invest your money. And that's where I'm kind of okay.
And I want to
with
bounce
it.
right off that, because that's something I didn't touch on, is I think if you have the option of purely, even with cosmetics, every single cosmetic should be available through playing the game, completing an achievement, beating the game on legendary 0 shots fired, like holy shit things. But yeah, you can do it if you go through and you invest the time, you can do it. I just wanted to tack right on with you and say I agree with that. So there.
No, and that's fine. I'm like going off that. I don't really play too many mobile games, but like for example, do you remember that there's a game called Adventure Capitalist? Which is literally just a clicker game.
Phone.
Okay, I beat it. And when I say I beat it, I mean like literally there's a point in the game where you can literally max everything out, and it took me 2 years to do it. But I did it, and I didn't spend a single dollar, because I would just turn it on like for maybe 10 minutes a day and do what I had to do in it. And if I would have spent money on it, I probably could have beat the whole game in probably an afternoon. Like it's literally just one of those types of games. So like to me, if your game can be played and you don't have to spend it, that's perfect, or if you want to do it just like, if they want to, like, essentially, I'm going to call it, and this sounds worse than I mean it to, but like if they want to prey on the people who are just like impatient, I'm fine with that. Like let the people who are like, I need it now, like, okay, go for it. That's go nuts. Like I'm fine with that. The last thing I want to say before I throw it over to one of you guys though, in regards to this, is that when you were explaining the system in EA's Star Wars game there, the Star Wars Battlefront, I was reminded a lot of, do you remember Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2? Does anybody remember that game at all?
Yes, sir.
So in that game, you had a progression system where you could get a lot of better stuff, like a silencer for your gun or whatever, or you can get, I can run further and this and that. But you had to accomplish goals in the game to unlock those things. So technically, if you were playing me and I was 40 hours into the game and you were 1 hour into the game, I would have better stuff than you. But I had unlocked it, and more importantly, the unlocks were fast enough to where you could just, come in, spend a half a day, and like basically be on the same level as the guy who played it for 40 hours. And to me, that was a better system than this one that EA is doing now, and that is just such an unfortunate thing to hear about, because this game had so much promise and hope going into it initially from the the we learn from our mistakes of our past, speeches of E3. I don't know if you remember that or not, but that's just very unfortunate. But
one of the great things they did is they heard the response of everybody, and they went through and they lowered the price on all of the characters. So instead of, I'm just making this up, instead of 40 hours, or not 40 hours, but let's just say it was 60,000 credits is how you unlock Darth Vader. They cut it down to like 20,000 credits. So they reduced the cost by 75%. And then what they did and didn't tell anybody is they reduced the amount of credits you earn per game by 75%. So they cut everything back and then just went, here you go. And some people didn't understand it. I don't know if everyone understands it still, but everybody that looked into it went, I'm earning 75% less money than I was before. Like, this didn't fucking fix anything. it's still going to take me 40 hours to unlock one character.
I hate to say it, but as time has gone on, the my alliances as far as like companies I believe in and products I believe in has shifted dramatically, and now my number one is by far Blizzard. Blizzard, they'll hit you straight up and say, guess what? It's going to cost you money if you want a loot box. It's going to cost you money for this stuff, but guess what? It's all cosmetics. It doesn't mean anything. Or you know what I mean? Like it's they're upfront with you. They talk to you about it, and their loot boxes and in DLC, or not DLC, but microtransactions. They're as transparent as they can be, and they even, because of that Chinese law about gambling, they even give you the percentages of what your odds are of getting your stuff in your random boxes, and I love that.
And they even have Hearthstone that they do have things where you have loot boxes to get random cards, and there are some of them where you can basically pay to win if you want really good cards, but the game's free off the get-go. Like, you don't pay any money for Hearthstone. It's a free game. Yeah, so you can just put the time in, and that's all it costs you is time. So it's not a $60 game plus, because I fully understand if you put a game out there for free, you need to monetize it somehow. You don't just put shit out for free and expect to stay as a company. So
Yeah, so I mean, like for example, like I play on my phone EA's Star Wars Heroes, Star Wars.
Galaxy.
I don't know what's it called. Hold on, I'm loading it up. Star Wars something Heroes. Anyways, and I've been playing it for 2 years, like, and I'm like top 50 in the world in one category, top 200. I've paid like $10 because I was like, I'm okay with this. Like they opened up some new stuff, expanded the game. Like, yeah, I enjoy this new feature. I'll pay it. Here's my $10.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten, I can't tell you how many hours of play out of the game. Like, but I didn't pay $60 up front. And yes, it is a pay to win game. But the thing is, like, those games, there's no real ending to this game. So there's no, it goes back to kind of the whole arc thing. There's no real ending to the game. Like it's open, it's not open world, but it's very open in what you consider winning. Like, cause there's so many different modes of battle and shit like that. So like, I don't mind that because I paid for it freely. Like, and I don't care about winning. I don't, I have a fair chance at whatever level I'm at. To go up against people who either have paid or did not play, just grinded it out like I have, and that's fine with me. But like, even like, I don't mind the cosmetic, loot boxes either. I understand, monetize, get money from that. Yeah, why not? Like, just as I said, no, don't make it affect gameplay. Don't make it unfair, and. That just annoys me. And then I guess kind of where I kind of want to, I guess, go or talk to it, and you kind of hit on it, Brian, was like the legal and gambling aspect that states and obviously China and countries are starting to see. And like, is that going to help? Like, I don't know. Cause people are like, yeah, it's a gambling mentality. Like the loot boxes in Overwatch. Yes, they're purely cosmetic, but I think I've seen something that says some studies do show that it does trigger that same thing that gambling does to addicts. So,
yes, it's funny you bring that up. I heard the exact same thing that it triggers that thing in the brain that just says like, hey, it's just like you're seeing the lights on a what is that called, the
slot machine?
The slot machine, when it goes and it hits all cherries and you're like ding 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 and the lights are going off. It's the same sort of area.
In a way, it basically is gambling. You're gambling with time instead of money, and shit that's digital instead of real world currency.
Absolutely.
But in a way, it is gambling, and I'm like, yeah, I understand that. But then I have the other side of it. Let's say Overwatch didn't have loot boxes, right? Okay. But let's say they had some other system like old school. Let's go with Castlevania. Like you're playing through like a single player campaign. I know Overwatch doesn't, and you get drops. That was it was the same concept because it's RNG. Right. Yeah. So in the end, it's very similar. It's just different. It's how it's presented. Because when you're playing through Castlevania, I know you can grind a couple levels to try and get your certain shit, but like you're probably going to eventually get it with RNG, and I don't think it triggers that same dopamine or whatever reaction in your brain.
Yeah, I know. I hear you.
That one's purely because of the money aspect on it, since you're paying money for the drops, basically. But go ahead, Michelle.
Yeah.
So just the one little thing that I have that you guys really haven't covered is, I pretty much agree. Like microtransactions should be purely cosmetic. You should be able to earn the stuff another way, even if it is time. Maybe not 40 hours per item, but some reasonable amount of time. The one thing that I like about microtransactions, and I think is the best thing to come out of the microtransaction system, is the end of the subscription system. When companies realized games were making more money from microtransactions than your monthly or yearly or whatever bullshit subscription, like, to me, that was the best part, because like there were games where I was just like, there is no way I'm going to give you $10 a month just to play this. I'll give you $10 a month if I want to buy cool weapons. But, so I think that's the best thing to come out of microtransactions, is that I can't think of a single game anymore that has like a
Warcraft still does.
I just gave Blizzard. I heard WoW was going to microtransactions though.
When? It can't be within it has to be relatively recent though, because like I played World of Warcraft for the very first time within the past year.
Or maybe they were saying their next one would be like that, because they like something like where basically Blizzard learned You know, that
Yeah,
like, hey,
from
like
Overwatch they did.
rather
Yeah.
than do a monthly subscription, like this is what we should do. And I think that's the best part, because some of those subscription fees were so high, like it was getting to the point where it was like you're paying for the cost of one game just to play 4 games.
Yeah, I'll happily let other suckers pay for a game that I can play now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So, like, for example, using my Overwatch as an example, every event that comes out, I always inevitably see in my YouTube feed, like people are like, I spent, they spend like $50 to $100 to get 100 loot boxes or whatever it is, and they open them all up and they're like, oh man, it's a big pack opening video, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, why? Just play the game. Like, if you play the game, you're gonna get it. And if you play the game often enough, which most of those people, if you're a Overwatch player, you're gonna hit it anyway. You know what I mean? You're gonna get the random pulls you need because you're just gonna play the game enough. But like, as you said, that there's those whales that they come in there and they're like, I'll drop $100 every single event, and it's like 8 events per year. That I'm like, are you kidding me? That's $800 of your money gone.
Yeah, but you know what? That like they were saying, that's their problem. Doesn't need to be your problem.
Yeah.
No, it is. You're right. It is their problem. But it just dumbfounds me because like I'm not the target audience for those. Like, I've never spent an extra dollar on Overwatch before in my entire life. I mean, have I been willing to if I had to, if I didn't get the right pull? But I've always just invested enough time that I never had to worry about doing that. So,
well, I'm going to defend some of those guys because they're making the money back on YouTube clicks. They're just.
I wasn't gonna say that part.
They're doing that.
It ruins my
but
point.
there are people, and like you said, use the term for it. They have the whales. I mean, there's a lot of things where people say that people will drop in. Developers have talked about how they have people, certain users, they know them by users, that are spending $10,000 on microtransactions in a game in a year. Like, in one game, they're spending that, and it's just, obviously these are people that most of the time, they're people that have just a lot of money. Hopefully there's not too many people that are struggling and that's what they're still spending a ton on. But most of them, they said they know, are people that just, they've got a ton of money. They do it in a bunch of different games and stuff like that. But God, I love those people because they're keeping the servers on for the rest of us that are like, because I've gone through I've spent money on, I've probably spent, I think it was about $30 or $35 for me to finally get my wheels and my little Merlin wizard on my car in Rocket League. I spent way too much money on that, but I've put in like 300 hours on that stupid game. Like, I've well gotten my money's worth. $20 from that, $30 from that. I've basically spent like a full game price for something I've played 150, 200 hours on. And then the same thing with Overwatch. Sure. Just during the winter event, because I didn't get I had a really bad winter event last year, and I didn't get 3 of the pulls that I desperately wanted for skins. Well, I didn't get Zarya. I'm just curious. I didn't get Reaper, and I didn't get one of the other ones. I don't remember what the last one was. Farah. I wanted all 3 of those. And so I went, and I was up in Michigan for a lot of the time. I didn't have time to play. I came back and I went, you know what? I've put a lot of hours into this. I'm all right giving more money to Blizzard because I've been able to enjoy this game. So I went through and I bought $40 worth of loot boxes, and I got everything I wanted out of it because at the time they had the duplicate system. So I got so much gold. I bought all 3, and I bought 2 and I pulled the Zarya on its own.
For sure. I mean, this is, and it's actually, I'm going to go back to the whales thing in a second, but just as a quick little thing to note, as of May 4th, 2017, Overwatch had surpassed over making $1 billion. It's like, and most of that money was not from game sales. So, yeah. But talking about the whales for a quick second, do you guys remember? This is a while back. Do you remember when Amiibos first came out?
Oh, Lord.
And I'm going to count these as kind of microtransaction things a little bit. Do you remember the guy in the Rosalias? Do you remember that story?
No,
I do not.
There was a guy who he spent, like, I'm not even joking, like I think it was almost $10,000, some nonsensical, like, ridiculous number to buy a shit ton of Rosalias before they could hit anywhere. Like, he bought like literally pallets of Rosalias, and he literally did it to keep them off of the shelves because he hated Rosalia as a character. So he literally did it just to keep them out of people's hands and make a shortage on the market of Rosalias because he hated Rosalia as a character that much.
Wow.
That sounds like Brian levels of petty.
No, I'm good, but I'm not. I'm good at being petty, but that's a whole other level. Like he's like, I bow to that master. Like he is.
No,
too
see,
good.
to me, like, since I know you're not the money spending type, this would be like you being petty enough where you're like, I'll spend the time to make sure you get fucked up and you can't do anything. I'll spend 72 straight hours playing this game to make sure you can't leave the game either.
No,
that's
no,
what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
that, to him, that was probably the same thing.
Yeah,
He's like, I've got money to spend, and he's all right spending money, but he won't spend his time. You are very much, I'll spend the rest of my days haunting this idea. So I'm like, that just seems like that guy's version of you, Brian, where he's like, I've got this to mess with. I'm going to do it.
If you literally Google "man buys Rosalia amiibos," it's like the first article that comes up is "man hate buys Rosalia and Luma amiibos in bulk so fans can't have them," and it literally has pictures of this guy flipping off boxes of Rosalias. It's so stupid.
Did he ever end up selling them? Because if they were that hard to,
this was back in 2015 when this happened. I don't remember. Like I don't know. It was like a ridiculous amount. Like I don't even remember the exact numbers. It was just
£25,000.
Okay, there you go. 25,000.
Yeah, that's what it looks like right here. This is me skimming the like headlines. So
yeah.
That is a fucking level of pettiness seen by few.
And that's seen by few but felt by one. Like I mean, that's I don't know. In some ways I hate him, in other ways I can't help but respect him on some sick level.
Does anybody have any last minute thoughts on any microtransactions, things we didn't really get into, or things you want to clarify now that we've talked a little bit further on it?
I think we all agree on the whole like no PvP investment into it.
So I speaking of kind of going off that PvP, I know Craig mentioned earlier was the Activision patent they put on, and yet again it goes against no PvP, buying. Mm-hmm. So obviously, if we take that argument, yes, we're going to agree on that for the most part. But what they did basically is, you have purchases for PvP items. Let's say a rocket launcher that you can use once a game or something like that. Something,
okay.
Or maybe not even that, maybe more game breaking, whatever. So you buy it, Brian. I don't. So I'm sitting here going along, blah blah blah, and I get killed by a rocket. Respawn, get killed by someone else who bought the rocket. And what they did basically, they said if you don't buy it, you get placed in a queue with people who have bought it. So basically, you get fucked. But on the other hand, if you use that just for cosmetics, I'm like, oh my God, Brian looks fucking awesome. Yeah, awesome. But I understand the cosmetic side. Like I could get behind that. That's good, smart, free advertising. Sure. But if they, take the the patent that they set up and apply that to PvP matches, I think that's where it just becomes breaking.
Yeah.
I agree with you entirely.
That's what I felt like Battlefront was.
Yeah. And that's the thing that I didn't really like, is I wanted to get into just how, if there was any form of power-ups through PvP and they use the system where it tries to bundle as a half and a half of people that do have the new and awesome weapon, the people that don't, so that you're constantly, and it purposely searches you. It goes, oh, you don't have this DLC. I'm going to constantly, or not DLC, this microtransaction gun or power-up. I'm going to purposely find someone that does and constantly match them up with you. I don't know if that was always against, but it was trying to, from what I read, it was just trying to pool. If it's a 12-person match, 6-on-6, it was trying to pool 6 people that had it, 6 people that don't. And so if I saw that in PvP, I'd be getting pissed, especially if it made sure like, oh no, you're always going to go against that person, so you're directly looking at them constantly. That would just be holy.
Can I ask you a question about that? Does that mean that, let's just say like in this exact scenario that you just gave, just fictional one, whatever, where they like you have a rocket launcher and I don't have the rocket launcher and I really want the rocket launcher. do I have a way to earn that rocket launcher in the game, or is that something that like
it didn't mention
that would be dependent upon the game. The game, whatever game you're in. So, if the game had the availability of getting the rocket launcher, yes, you would. If the game did not, and the only way to get it was to like pay for it, obviously no. It had nothing to do with that. It just was the matching process. Is what they what they're going for.
No, yeah, I got you. Because if the only way if the only way to get the rocket launcher in this fictional scenario was that you had to pay for it, then I would not, like, I would literally return the game, like, at that point and get the get the $3 from GameStop at that point. But if there was a chance for me to earn it in game, then it would, for me, it'd become a mountain to climb. I'd be like, oh, fuck you, buddy. I'm gonna earn that rocket launcher and I'm gonna blow you away. And I would just
I'm opposite. If I know somebody did that, I'd just not play. That's the reason why I didn't do Battlefield. I'd be like, I'm done. I'm not giving you my time.
No.
I am not giving.
No, you think you're better than me?
I'm not giving that person my time. There's only one thing that I think should ever be behind a paywall, where you literally cannot earn it any other way. I don't mind if there are cosmetics they're hidden behind a paywall, but it is not a loot box cosmetic. It's I'm going to buy that skin for $2. There's no like random roll, like, oh, I just got to keep putting money in until I finally pull that one Rocket League car. No, like either everybody, if that skin's just behind a paywall, it's behind a paywall. I'm all right with that. But I don't like it when when it's a random behind a paywall and there's no other way. Like Rocket League has that, where there's a few cars that are only behind you buying keys to unlock crates. Because they make their system crazy, where you get crates randomly and very infrequently, and the only way to open them is then to purchase a key.
Or play the.
They recently did change it. I apologize.
Patch, which makes it to where me, who's not going to buy these keys to open these crates, I can earn 8. Well, so far I think it's been 8 or 10 keys
8 total so far. Okay.
Yeah. Three for October and 5 for the winter. So I'm like, I'm fine with that. Like, cool. I now have a chance. I rolled. I got some cool shit, and I'm like, sweet. I'm happy. Did I get what I wanted? No, but I'm like, I'm still not going to pay.
No.
So, but I would take it if that wasn't in the loot box, or I'd still take it if it wasn't if it was in the loot box, but it still had the ability to just
buy it outright.
Whatever. It's $10 for the car, or you could buy 10 keys and hope you rolled for it. But you've got an option over there where it's like, nope, it's just right here. Here you go. That's the only time I don't like it, is when it's hidden behind a paywall and it's part of like a rule. That's when it feels like gambling. You're like, I got to get that one skin. I felt like I was gambling when I was trying to get my stupid ice wheels in Rocket League, which I basically was. But luckily, they at least let you like trade your stuff in for in-game currency to get the wheels you want or get the item you want. But it still was like, it was bad.
So here's what's going to end up happening right now, guys. We've talked a lot about paywalls and money and this and that. So it's time for us to go to today's quiz. But today's quiz is not our normal style. This one is more of a episode of The Price is Right. So get dunked on. Come on down. Yay! So we're basically playing a Price is Right today. And now here's the kicker to it, okay? Normally we can go over and under and this and that. We are playing actual Price is Right rules, meaning that if you go over, you're wrong. Okay. Okay. But I will say that if everyone goes over, then just the closest one to it gets the point.
Do we have Barker's bids?
I'm just going to tell you to spay and neuter your pets. That's all I'm going to say at the end of this. There's not, other than that, there's not really a whole lot about Barker.
Oh, man.
Here. Barker. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in the order of just starting anyway. It'll be Burke, Craig, Michelle, and then the next one will be Craig, Michelle, Burke, and then so on. You get it. Then rotating. There are 2 questions in here that are not Price is Right number questions. They're just standard questions. Okay. Yeah, and when those come up, they're worth double.
It's a daily double.
All right.
Oh, wrong game.
It's the daily.
Fuck,
mixing afternoon game shows, but yes.
Price is Right was morning.
So welcome to the microtransaction quiz. All right. Our first item Arguably, the most famous microtransaction of all time belongs to the Elder Scrolls series. Horse armor is famed as one of the first examples of microtransactions getting out of hand. How much did horse armor cost?
Just for
$11.99.
clarification, are all of these in like US dollars? Okay.
Yes, every question I will ask today is in US
14
dollars.
pounds. I mean, $11.99.
I know this is getting
$11.99.
really, like, did you round it like Price is Right does? How they usually, let's just say it was $39.99. They would say 40, or you
Yes,
okay.
I round it. Yes.
okay.
Yes,
So Bert, go
everything
ahead.
is rounded
Since
to
no one else gave
yeah.
a number, you can redo your answer.
14.
I'm going to
14,
go
okay.
with
Whatever.
10.
10.
I'm going to say 5.
You all were over, but Michelle was closest. The answer is $2. $2 for
I thought it
horse
was
I thought it was.
armor.
I thought it was $11.99 for some reason,
Yeah, exactly what I
and
said.
the
That's what
lowest I was
don't
possibly
know.
going to go was $2.99. But I was like, no, I thought I remember it being more of a like. Are you fucking serious? More than like $3 for horse armor that does nothing. Anyway, sorry.
Last I saw it was the one that I
No, you're
when I read
probably
it, it was
right.
$2.
Yeah.
I just had it wrong in my head.
Right.
I must have adjusted for inflation since then.
Question 2. No, you're good. Question 2. In the MMO Entropia, I think I'm saying that right, Entropia universe, a man paid blank for a virtual asteroid. How much real-life money did this man pay for a virtual asteroid?
I'm gonna
Greg, you're
go
up first.
with 50,000.
I'm going
50,000.
to say, holy shit, I'm going to say 4,000.
4,000.
Well, I was. Do I play the smart game?
Play the smart game. I'm gonna be playing the smart game when I'm last.
50,001.
And by playing the smart game, you get the
Damn.
point. The answer is 100,000 real life
That was
dollars.
actually going to be my guess, but I was like, I'm going to play safe. Damn.
My God.
Wow.
I thought the smart guess was $1. I thought the smart one was $1.
But wait, we're not done yet. Question number 3. The same person turned it into a sort of resort and mall. Okay, so he revamped this asteroid into a resort and mall. He had since made how much money charging admission to his asteroid? How much money did he make charging admission for players in real life money to get onto his asteroid paradise resort, whatever?
800,000.
800,000.
All right. I'm going to go with. I can't tell if Brian's trying to be sarcastic or not and throw us off. That's what I'm trying to really figure out. I'm going to go with $1 million.
$1 million.
I'm just gonna go with $1.
That was going to be my.
The answer is $200,000.
Holy shit. Nice, Craig.
200. Now, wait. The final question with the man
We're
and his
not done with this
asteroid.
asshole?
Oh
He's
my
like, how much was the
God.
profit?
When he finally sold it, he sold it off in parcels, but his grand total of how much money he made from the final sale of his asteroid. How much money did he make from just the sale of
So
it?
he sold the rights to the asteroid.
No, he sold the digital asteroid. He sold it all, so he didn't have any ownership of any of it or any of the other stuff that went along with it. Keeping in mind, he bought it for 100. He charged 200, or he earned 200 over the course of him owning it, and then he finally sold it for how much?
300,000.
300,000.
I'm gonna go
I
with
like the symmetry.
$500,000.
Okay.
I'm going to go with $5.
Over is closest, $335,000. That man.
Wow.
So in total, he made over $500,000 from buying a virtual asteroid in an MMO. How much do we hate our lives right now?
Well, I'm just trying to figure out if this is where Ernest Klein got the idea for the Oasis, like selling virtual landscape. Holy shit!
Maybe.
Yeah.
All right, this one. Question number 5. Our daily double. Does the little thing there. You can insert the sound effect if you want later. A man once bought an engagement ring for a girl he proposed to. She said no. But this man took the money that he got from selling the ring on eBay to buy a custom blank cosplay outfit. Hint, it's a type of armor.
I'm gonna go last.
gonna say Mega Man.
Mega
I'm gonna
Man.
go with what is Mjolnir armor?
What is Mjolnir armor?
You two both get the
Bam.
points. Correct. It is a Master Chief set of Mjolnir armor.
Good
I'm
man.
glad you didn't ask me what mark it was because I wouldn't have known that.
4.
I actually had that written down at some point, but I had erased it because I was like, Michelle doesn't know who Master Chief is half the time, so I'm going to leave that out of it.
I know who Master Chief is.
I know you
to
do.
that.
Knowing and having absolutely no care in the world at times.
Yeah,
Knowledge and
yeah,
apathy
yeah.
are two different things.
Back to our standard episode here. Number 6. For those of us who remember Mafia Warriors, first of all, I'm sorry for bringing that back up and bringing it back into our lives and mentioning it. But if you were one of those who don't just know that it was, or don't know, it was a computer/phone game similar to that things like Farmville at the time. So basically, it was kind of a one of those games that everyone would spam you about. One woman was so obsessed with the game that she embezzled from her company to fund her addiction.
Oh my god.
How much money did she embezzle to fund her Mafia Wars game lifestyle?
50,000.
50,000.
75.
75.
I'm going to go $75,001.
Craig gets the point. The answer is $166,000 in not just embezzled, but then spent directly into Mafia Wars. Literally, like she
Jesus.
embezzled the money to fund Mafia Wars. Like,
Wow.
my God. Number 7, Skylanders Spyro Adventure, a game that I'm sure we all know and love, will run you a standard $70 price tag for the game. But if you add in all the toys and add-ons, the game quickly jumps in price. How much money would it cost you to fully enjoy and play this game if you were to buy all the pieces that go along with it to make it a full game? How much money would this game run you?
What was the game title again? Sorry.
It's called Skylanders Spyro Adventure.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
I gotcha. Let's go with $695.
$695.
I'm going $2,000.
$2,000.
I'm gonna say $900.
You guys, I might have scared you with the other ones. The answer is only $320. $320 only for this one. But yeah, I picture the little guy yodeling, and he falls off. Yeah, no, for Skylanders Spyro. Okay, another one of our daily doubles. This game was made by Capcom. This game made by Capcom made huge waves by charging you $6.99 to get an ending to the game. What was the game? So it charged you $7 to actually even get the ending to the game. You couldn't get the ending if you didn't pay the money.
And I'm sorry, you said what company?
This is a Capcom game. It's a very obscure game, which is why it's worth 2 points.
I'm going to go with their $7 game.
The $7 game.
I don't have a fucking clue.
It's really obscure. I really doubt it. I doubted anyone was going to get the this one or the engagement ring one. Honestly, I thought that one was kind of I thought that one I really thought was going to be more obscure.
Resident Evil Umbrella Wars.
Okay.
What is Sonic?
So does Sonic. The answer is Azura's Wrath. Azura's Wrath.
Wow.
Apparently, it was a very good game from the people who played it, but of course, the $6.99 price tag at the end was a little too much. Okay, number 9. Peter Molyneux did that stupid digging cube game to promote his other game a while back. Do you guys remember that? Okay, I'm making sure everyone remembers this. What you may not remember is that you could spend real money to get types of picks to dig faster. So the most expensive one, dubbed the Diamond Chisel, cost 3 billion in-game coins. How much was that in real US dollars? So how much money would you have to spend in real US dollars to get this, and you could do this, by the way, to get the Diamond Chisel?
300,000?
I
300,000.
want to go with $250.
$250.
I'm going to go with, I'm sorry, Burke, this is where my number was going to be beforehand, but I'll adjust it by like 100 just to make sure. $251.
Oh my god! So with that, he just edges you out, Burke. The answer is $50,000. $50,000.
Good. I was going to say $300 beforehand, but I was like, well, I'll move it 49.
And before you ask, someone did pay it.
Oh,
do they get producer credits on the game? That never was made. But
I don't know what they get out of that, or if they, yeah. Okay. Number 10. World of Warcraft has many heroes, but only one, and I'm going to butcher this name, Zeuzo, Zeuzo. This is a night elf rogue leveled to 70. Was sold in September of 2007. She came with items from hard bosses. So this is a player-created character, night elf rogue, who just happened to be leveled in such a way and had a bunch of rare items, and she was sold to another person, another player. How much money did she go for? Granted, I will say this though: some of the items and stuff that she had are exceedingly rare. Like it's an actually rare shit in the game.
I'm gonna go with $895,000.
890. Okay.
I'm gonna go with $11,000.
$11,000.
I'm gonna say like $400.
The closest one, without going over on this one, it's
damn it.
But I'd say it would be Michelle. But the answer is $9,000.
Wow.
$9,000. Yeah, it's apparently they say they sold for $9,000. Here's the kicker: within a week, basically of the transfer being made, Blizzard was made aware of this, and the character was banned, and that was the end of it.
Why?
Because selling player-made characters forfeits the right of the and all that stuff. And
if it's in the terms of service,
it is. It's in its terms of service, and so by doing that,
that's harsh.
Yeah. So in other words, like I spent that money and poof, literally gone. So
wow,
Zuzu or whatever her name is will live in infamy. All right, last one, number 11. This one's for all the marbles. A man in China once paid for a virtual sword in a game that wasn't even out yet. The sword's name was Dragon Slaying Saber and Scabbard. How much did he pay? This is for an MMO that hadn't even released yet. Oh, and for the record, by the way, in case you were wondering, this was many years ago, and it has come and gone, and no one cared about the game. So this guy spent the money on a game that didn't even go anywhere.
I'm gonna go with $500.
$500 for a virtual sword.
I'm gonna say 10,000.
10,000.
I'm gonna go with $501.
Michelle is the closest at $16,000 for a virtual sword for a game that had not even been released.
What?
16,000.
I mean, I can't even imagine dropping that amount of money on a game that has been released, but for a game that's not even out and you have no idea what's going to happen, that's insane.
$16,000.
Did you say 10,000, Michelle?
Yeah, she did.
Okay.
Yeah, it's at 10,000.
Oh my god.
So how are we feeling as disgusted as I was when I was making this?
Yes.
Fucking
so
real.
I'm just gonna put this out there. If anybody wants to drop this amount of money on games, like, you can PayPal me like $10 or something. Like,
and they'll get something out of it. You'll do like a special stream for them and everything.
Yeah.
Dude, you'll get some real world interaction, over the internet. But come on, it's wow.
Hell, if you pay me $16,000, I will come to wherever your location is and buy you lunch and have lunch with you. You kidding me?
Oh, yeah.
I'll do that for $16,000.
For $16,000, a whole group will fucking go to wherever you are in the continental U.S.
Yes, we will.
Have
so
lunch
if anybody
with you.
wants to sponsor us for $16,000,
it'll be lunch with the dunk. Like, that's what we'll do. We'll all show up and have lunch with you. Absolutely.
And get prepared to get dunked on.
Absolutely.
So what was the quiz total?
We'll all get full. God dang it! I'm picturing the y'all get like what the hell is it called? The damn sandwiches that you dip, and you're like, oh, these sandwiches got dunked on. And like the whole time, it's the only joke we have the entire time we're at lunch. Oh my god!
Okay, all right. So coming in last place tonight is Michelle.
Pew, 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 pew.
Yeah, I knew
with
that.
a total of 2 points.
I underestimate people's stupidity a lot.
Under and then over, and then we had no fucking clue. The first runner-up tonight is me.
Oh! Captain Price Tag over here.
Yeah.
Captain Price Tag.
The person that spent the most on microtransactions wins.
Yeah.
Oh, he looks like he paid to win. Oh! I nailed that. No, but really though, can you believe some of those numbers? Like
No.
it blew my mind. Like the single greatest one that just shocked though was the $100,000 in the asteroid thing, because realistically he spent 100,000 real life dollars on this asteroid before he had the concept of like, I'm gonna build an entire thing on it. Like what? Like that just blew my
he
mind.
didn't have the idea of building on it.
Maybe he did, but I don't know how he would even like.
I thought that would have been his plan the whole time. Is I'm going to buy this and try to turn this into something.
Maybe he did, but it's an MMO. You know what I mean? Like realistically, like real estate speculation in the real world is one thing. Real estate speculation, in a virtual
There
one
are
is a
people
whole
though
other
that
thing.
like they literally make their entire living off designing like clothes and stuff for the game Second Life. Like they literally just make this. Second Life is a MMO and it's giant Sims game basically.
Yeah.
And people will design clothing and stuff to sell in the game, and they literally make their actual living doing that. They make so much money from it that they live off of it.
That's unreal. I mean, that is some Ready Player One stuff right there. Man, holy crap. Okay. Well,
I think one of the things I liked about that book is like knowing some of this stuff. I was like, this is not that far off of what could possibly happen. Like, it's really not.
No, it's not. But I don't know. Like, it's just hard for me to imagine spending any money on on anything in a game for the most part. Once I buy the game, because I'm like, I bought a game. Why would I need to spend more money for the most part? But like at the same time, maybe it is just that good of a design, I guess. People buy t-shirts all the time. Cool design. I suppose you would do the same for your avatar if you really were into it. But I guess. Sure.
Yeah. I mean, let's just all face it. Let's go full circle here and do what we all know, or Jesus Christ, I can't even fucking talk anymore. Go with what we're all
Bert's brain just got dunked on.
Play the end music.
Jesus Christ.
No. Go ahead and finish strong here, Bert.
Finish it, Bert.
No, finish
Finish
it.
All right.
We're waiting with bated breath.
All right. So we all know, EA, tried to pull, a get dunked on for all of us, right? And
True.
The whole community finally fucking band together. No, motherfuckers, your stock prices just got dunked on.
Just want you for my own, more than you could ever know. Make my wish come true. All I want for Christmas is
Fuckers, your stock prices just got dunked on.
Oh boy.
All that work for that.
God damn it. I was like, my brain just broke.
I'm not editing any of that out. We're leaving that
God damn
entire
it.
sequence
Fuck
in.
you. Fuck you.
I know. So I like how and the thing is, Bert could have been like, an EA got dunked on, but then he had to go and say the stock prices. So like my brain was like picturing like little Timmy whose dad works at EA, like he has a sad Christmas now because like the Star Wars game didn't do well. And he's like, our stock prices dropped, Timmy. We don't have money anymore. I'm like, great. Now it's really sad. Well, I have to sympathy for EA guys. Thanks a lot, Burke.
Realistically though, like EA fucks up literally all the
they
time,
do.
and they still hang out at the top because of sports
yeah.
games.
Oh yeah, dude, they make so much fucking money off of because they have they've had microtransactions in fucking the sports
yeah.
games for years now with like the ultimate team stuff where you're buying the cards. Like they have money on money for that.
EA Sports.
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah, like unfortunately, this fuck up won't affect them that much.
No.
Nah.
I mean,
No.
yeah, yes, their stocks did drop. Yes, they had to change all of their projections and whatnot because it's a whole lot less because of it. But they'll bounce back. They still have so many franchises.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're borderline untouchable at this point.
Which means they probably won't learn their lesson.
Well, no, absolutely not.
Well, I mean, yeah, like some of the articles I read of their CEO or chairman of the board was like, yeah, if we had figured out this years ago, like for Battlefront 4, we would be charging microtransactions as that. That's still one of their top 3 played games still. And he goes, dude, we would still be making money on it. Yeah, we want, if we almost want to retroactively go back and do that. Like that's how money driven these fuckers are.
Could you imagine if Nintendo was like Mario hits a question block, but and it's like, oh, that would have been a fire flower, but you didn't pay for the fire flower upgrade. He's like, oh no, another poison mushroom. I wish someone would pay me real coins. And then he looks at the screen.
All I want for Christmas is you.
Laugh, bitches.